We are recording this evening's party for those of us or those participants who are not able to join us this evening. So there, everybody is. Hello, welcome. It is so fabulous to see all of you here tonight, and we are going coast to coast with this Canadian cheese fondue party. My name is Debbie. I'm going to be your sommelier and host for this evening. And I am also the proud owner of Savvy Company. Some of you are familiar faces, and many of you are new to our Savvy events. This is the first of 2026, but certainly it won't be the only event of 2026. Savvy Company hosts events all over Ottawa, throughout Kingston, and sometimes in Toronto as well. But certainly, this is our first event of the year, and it's online for a very good reason. Has anyone gone outside yet today? It is cold. And the snowbanks, I don't know where it's like where you are, but the snowbanks are up to here. Well, knee height, but you can't see my knees, so I'm going to say up to here. So we love having online events during the winter time because that means that you don't have to be driving through snowstorms to get to our fun events, and it's so much more pleasurable. You don't have to find parking on top of snowbanks. You don't have to bundle up. You can enjoy the comfort of your own home for this special evening. And look at all of you here tonight. It's absolutely delightful to have everybody here this evening. T Today was perfect weather. It may have been cold, but it is perfect weather for a fondue, in my opinion. And that's exactly what tonight is all about. So whether you want to put your video on or turn it off, it's totally up to you. This is your evening. You can even mute me if you if you want. But the whole idea about tonight is to gather around, have a bit of a party, have some fun, and also learn more about the people who made the products that we sent you. The cheese, the wine. You may have selected craft ciders or maybe even non-alcoholic if you're still on the home stretch of dry January, or maybe that's your preference. Everything tonight is 100% Canadian made. And I am so proud about that. It's hard to believe that 100% Canadian has been on top of the radar for almost over a year now, but it has been on our radar for over 24 years. That's a whole raison d'etre for Savvy Company, is to showcase products that are hard to come by, might not be at the LCBO or at grocery stores, and is 100% Canadian. So I hope you enjoy the fondue, the cheese fondue. I've always wanted to host a cheese fondue party and could never figure out where I could rent 50 or 100 or 200 cheese fondue pots. And so I figured that all of you had a cheese fondue pot in your home. Perhaps it's one that you use regularly, or maybe it's one that you had to dust off, or maybe you had to MacGyver something to make it into a cheese fondue pot. However you do it, we're glad that you are now enjoying some organic cheese made by Fromagerie La Station. We'll get more to that later, but let me just go through a couple of notes that I jotted down here. Um, what to expect for this evening. This is, as I said, your party and interviewing some winemakers that we featured and we had specifically paired their wines because they had stories. And not only do they go well with the cheese fondue that you have at your table, but certainly they have interesting stories, and the people who make them are quite interesting and dynamic. And some of them are very well renowned in the wine world. So we have lots to be proud of as Canadians with these winemakers. So we're going to have a little fireside chat. Some of these people I know as friends, so thought that might make the enjoyment of the wine that you have, I think, enriches it the enjoyment if you know the makers. So it'll give you a clip of and that opportunity to meet Dylan. We're going to meet Fred, who made Fred wines. Dylan is part of the family who owns Rose Hall Run, and we also have Scott McGregor, who is the head winemaker from Lakeview Vineyards, who will tell us the secret behind the white wine. I've been chasing up Catherine from Fromagerie La Station because she was going to be here and I don't know where she is. So she will probably be joining us throughout the evening and we'll add her in whenever we can. Um, and you will have received inside your event box or bag bingo card. Everybody got one of those? All right, show your bingo card. This is something new for us, and I challenged Becca, who is our stage manager tonight, to come up and make some bingo cards, and this is what she came up with. So you may have the lucky card. So I also gave her the role of being the bingo caller, and after each one of our interviews, Becca will call some of the cheese names that are on your bingo card. If you get a straight line, either horizontal, vertical, or diagonal, using the free cheesy space in the middle, then get up and dance. Wave your arms around if you have bingo, and you may be the lucky winner. We'll check on your bingo card, and if you have a straight line, then you can win a prize, which guess what? It's more cheese, because I know all of you like cheese. We featured La Station, Fromagerie La Station in our Cheese of the Month Club, and we have some of their delicious premium cheeses, aged cheeses that we will give to you as a prize. It's like getting a taste of our Cheese of the Month Club. So, are we ready? Yes, I see fingers up. Oh, there we go. Ben's really into it. Right on. Hi, Lisa. I see you there too. Lisa and I went to high school together. There's Stacy, who comes to absolutely every single one of our events. Aaron, we just spoke a couple of minutes ago. Hi. Let's see some other people I want to recognize. Kelly and Peter, Michelle, Joe. Nice to see you. Happy Friday. There's Anna. Bravo. Anna, did you get a baguette? I hope so. Right on. Who else do we have here? Anybody else want to show their screen? Ian is dipping. Ian, Brockville. The whole fam jam's going on in Brockville with Fondue. Hello. Hello. Fantastic. There's Catherine. Hey, there's Catherine. You made it. And Judith? Fabulous. Who else do we have? Becca, we have Catherine. Just joined us. All right. Lights are back on with Catherine. Fantastic. We'll give her a couple minutes to get some breathing room. Anybody else want to show Mary and Blair, John, Michelle, Donna? We're so glad you're all here with us this evening. Okay, so first off, this is always a fun picture if anybody is into taking photos online. Let's hear it for Friday. You made it through the week, probably one of the coldest weeks of January. Cheers, everyone. It's good to have, as my dad would say, it's always good to have your feet around our table. Cheers. There's Shirley, who's part of our Savvy team with Gary and Molly and Andre. Awesome. It is so fun to have all of you here. Thank you. Thank you. There's Andre. Excellent. Okay, tonight is all about what you want to do, how you are celebrating Friday and dipping into the cheese fondue. Certainly, you're welcome to open all bottles of wine or maybe just a couple. Um, or those of you who had ordered some Ontario craft ciders, same thing. Uh, you can enjoy all of them or just a couple, whichever you choose. Heck, you don't have to drive anywhere, right? So with that, if there are any newfound favorites, we do have extras available that you can reorder on our Savvy store, just like you did for this evening's event. And in fact, I ordered a whole lot more cheese fondue because I know you will be enjoying this for weeks to come. And I want to make sure that we have some ready for just that moment. I will give you a tip. I have 3 bags or 3 packages of this cheese fondue in my freezer year round. It is so delicious, as you found with the fondue, but also great on pizzas or in a snap. Makes the best cheese sauce going. So, with that, that's a fantastic segue to introduce Catherine Duran from Fromagerie La Station. Can we share a screen there, Becca, and have Catherine and I chatting? If you have any questions or any comments, now that you've all reminded yourselves how to use the chat um, spot on Zoom, then certainly add in a question or a comment, and we will weave those into the fireside chat with the cheesemakers as well as the winemakers. Everybody good with that? Right on. Catherine Durand, where are you?
Hello.
Hello, happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday. I'm so sorry. I've put on the calendar it was on Saturday. So lucky me, you called me a few minutes ago and I saw it before it actually was too late. So I'm happy I'm here right now.
Great. Well, we won't keep you from your Friday evening plans too much longer because I know you're a jet setter. You just came back from San Diego. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we are kind of in development. We want our cheeses to be mostly more into specialized boutique where people can explain about the product and talk about who we are and what we do. So we're trying to develop a little bit more on this side. So we're traveling a lot. It's been a year and a half that I've been like traveling for cheese. So if you would have told me 9 years ago when I first started at La Station, that I would be selling the cheese all over, flying to get cheeses more available for customers. Well, I wouldn't believe it would going to be possible, but here I am today.
Well, and fantastic. And what you've got the life, like you're living the dream, talking about cheese all the time, and what better than Canadian cheese, no less.
Yeah.
So tell
Yeah.
us a little bit more about Fromagerie La Station. Where are you located?
Yeah, so we are in the eastern township of Quebec, so completely on the east, an hour 45 minutes away from Montreal. So going to, let's say, Ontario, going to Toronto and everything, it's not so long. So yeah, we are producing cheeses. It's been like 21 years, so since 2004. We are in organic agriculture. It's a family business for 4 generation now. So we have Simon, Pierre, and Vincent and Martin, the 3 brothers that are actually doing everything about the business. So the cheese, the farming, and also maple syrup. So if ever you come by our boutique, you have access to those 3 different experience. So you can experience the cheese and also visit the farm, go see the cows in the pasture, and you can also eat and taste some nice maple syrup. Yeah.
Well, and just this week, we received an email from some of our longtime Savvy fans who had visited with you this fall. And they said, "Oh my gosh, we are so happy that we stopped into the Fromagerie on our recommendation." They had participated in the cheese fondue event last year, and they just said it was the most wonderful experience to go and visit your fromagerie, taste the cheese, see where the cows graze, and they just were raving about it. So they were so happy that we were introducing you to all of these cheese fonduers
Yeah,
tonight.
well, we're actually very lucky because you have a lot of people that are interested about the product and interested in about cheese, and you're there to make that like more accessible. So we're really thankful for you for making this happen, and also for everyone to order that fondue actually and being part of the evening. It's really we're really happy about it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. So you are going around the world talking about this cheese. It's a special blend.
Yeah.
This particular cheese fondue. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So this one is actually one of my favorites. So when you first started, we had only the classic fondue that was a mix of three of our most popular cheeses. But it's been few years that we started to produce that one. But it was only available at the farm. We started to make it more available recently. So now you can actually order it from Savvy. But it's a mix of or raclette with pink peppercorn that actually won the best American Cheese Society contest last year. So it was a best of show. So the best cheese in America was the raclette with the pink peppercorn. And it's mixed with the Hatley Road, that is a sweeter and fruity cheese, and mixed with Alfred Le Fermier. So Alfred is the most popular of our cheeses, and it actually won this year the best of show at the ACS, so at the American Cheese Society contest. So it's been 2 years in a row that we won into that contest. It's the first time Canadian cheese are winning first place as well. And 2 years in a row, that's like really amazing. And so, yeah, cheese in Canada, I think the cheeses are really getting more known by people. And I think there's more interest into it. So, yeah. So this fondue is actually a mix of three very nice cheeses. You just put whatever you like in it. So if you don't want wine in it, you can also put some chicken broth. You can also put some apple cider. You can use it with with apple cider. It's actually very good too. And I also really love it with a beer, like a blonde, very light beer. It's also very good with that. And to go with it, there's so many things you can actually try. So if you like veggie, all kinds of veggies, and I always like to have something more acid, like a little more like a pickle or white little onions or something that will give a little punch with the mix of the cheese. Yeah.
That's really interesting. I would never have thought pickles. You've mentioned that before, and I still can't imagine having pickles and cheese together.
Yeah.
But has anybody in this group at this party, have you tried pickles in your cheese fondue? Raise your hand if you have. Yeah, we've got somebody. We've got Michelle, and oh, look at that. Michelle Perry has some pickles on her table. Anybody else have some interesting dippers that they're using for their cheese fondue tonight? Anything that you want to share with us? I have learned about cheese fondue with ravioli, cooking the pasta in
Oh,
advance
yeah.
and then dipping it in, and it's just like, oh, fantastic. If any of you watched me or saw me on the CTV morning show, I had pasta on my display and didn't get a chance to talk about it, but mac and cheese, like instant mac and cheese right there with the pasta and the cheese. So, two thumbs up for the cheese fondue so far. Anybody have any questions for Catherine while she's with us? You said that it's organic cheese, so is it the cheese making process that's organic or the milk from the cows are organic?
So it's actually, well, everything is organic since it starts from the field. So it's actually, and we're farmstead. So it means that like everything is made on the farm. So everything we're feeding the cows with is made on the land we possess. And we keep a control on everything that the cows are eating. But it's not only just what they're eating, but it's also their environment. So we try to make sure that the environment we are using to make that milk will regenerate itself well. And there's also the well-being of the cows. So if you come and visit the installation, you'll see the cows are actually very comfortable. They have water mattresses, there's brushes all over the place to brush their back. There's also some necklace that give a nice indication of their well-being, their temperature of body, but also what they are eating. So if they need more cereal to help them have a little boost, well, we'll know with the necklace that helps a lot with it. And we are working on a big project to try to maintain a good the like because cows are doing gas, like we know, so we are working with a university to actually keep a nice like a control on the gas we are producing. So it all starts with the farm, but also the cheese. So the cheese is made with very few ingredients. So if you look at the list of ingredients, you'll see on the fondue there's not a lot of ingredients. So it's really the basic, the rennet, the milk, well, the pink peppercorn, obviously some salt, but there's not nothing else. So it's really the basic product, and it's what it's good for you actually. So yeah.
I love it. Cheese fondue is good for you, is what I just heard. Did everybody else hear that too? Thank you, Catherine.
Well, thank you. So I hope you'll enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you for making this happen.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Round of applause for
Have a great
Catherine.
evening,
Anybody want to
everyone.
give Catherine a cheers?
I don't have my glass with me. It's downstairs, but I will get my glass up.
Okay,
Thank you.
fantastic.
Bye
Thank you
bye.
so much. Bravo. Well, with that, I think it's a good time for Becca to call a couple of bingos. Becca, can you call some cheese bingos, please?
Absolutely. Okay. First one is Colby.
If you have a Colby, mark it down. Oh, I've got one. Don't
Okay.
worry, I'm not going to win. All right,
Man
and another one.
Manchego.
Manchego. Spanish manchego. All right. All right, we're going to leave it there and we are going to ask for Dylan Sullivan to join us on the big screen.
Hello, hello.
There's Dylan. How are you, Dylan? Zooming in from
I'm
Prince Edward County.
I am quite literally chilling in Prince Edward County. I just came back from a little traveling on the road, so it's good to be back. My father sends his regards. Uh, he normally loves Joe off, so I am here to fulfill his duties while he gets to relax in the sun. But that's okay. I've got a glass of indigo with me, so
Fantastic.
we'll
Well, tell
manage.
us a little bit more about indigo then.
Yeah, so this is the third sparkling product we produced in terms of our timeline. The first vintage was in 2014. It's a unique product for us in that it's kind of always changing in terms of the blend makeup. It's named after our family dog, actually. The name Indigo. People like to ask about that. It was the dog we had when we were originally planting out here back in 2001, back in those days. So it's our little tributary. We've made the first vintage the year after she passed away, so it's sort of a tributary to her. Stylishly or stylistically, excuse me, it's a Charmant method, tank method sparkling wine always. So that means it's produced on a faster scale. Some of you may have had our sparkling wine Pixie, very similar in that methodology, in that we're not doing a secondary fermentation for a traditional method sort of bottling. But where that would differ from our Pixie is almost always the same sort of mix of varietal. It's a Vidal primarily with a small amount of Pinot Noir for color, whereas Indigo will change based on the sort of vintage that we do. So this is sourced from our own fields. It's got about 20% our own Chardonnay and Chardonnay Muscat. Within that, it's about 9% Muscat, to the rest being traditional Chardonnay. Muscat or Chardonnay, for those who don't know, is sort of a natural mutation of Muscat Autumnal and Chardonnay. We grow a small amount of it on our estate. It's kind of known for its being more of an aromatic on oak style. And then the other three grapes that make up this are, in fact, more Muscat Autumnal, just good old Muscat from our estate. And then we have a grower down in Niagara by the name of Bob Nedelko, and he manages a small vineyard called Nedelko Vineyards, and we source Riesling and Gewürztraminer. So it's primarily a base of Gewürztraminer, about 40%, and then another 10% Riesling, and that puts us about 15% Muscat. So it's a bit of a house blend, so to speak. But yeah, it's designed to be quite aromatic, very quaffable, but also it stands up to food. So if you're enjoying it with some fondue, you get a nice kind of comparison with that sort of floral palette, along with that kind of cheesy earthiness.
The aromas and the whole blend that you have described for us is full of very delicious type of wines with loads of beautiful um, bouquet as well as flavors. And I love sparkling wine. This is certainly one of my go-tos. It's only $20. It's right there with Prosecco. It is so easy to drink. And why wouldn't you have sparkling wine to start a party? And even this evening, and my colleagues Shirley and Becca can certainly attest to this, I finished a wine tasting this afternoon with a little splash of sparkling. Actually, it was one of yours, ceremony, which is beautiful wine, but it's also a great way not only to enliven your palate, but to re-enliven your palate after you've had a bunch of different wines to try. And sparkling, I can't get enough of
Absolutely. I
it.
mean, it's definitely, at least from our perspective, something that has changed in terms of both its versatility. In that, I think a lot of people, if my dad were here, he would be referring to this as the boat christening wine effect, where a lot of times people used to see sparkling wine as this sort of, you have it at New Year's, you have it at graduation, and then aside from that, it's sort of just its own thing over there. But I think, especially for us locally, and I think generally in the wine world, the sort of embracing of sort of the easy drinking sparkling wine to go with every meal is really popularized. I know that when we're making our wines in house, we're focusing in not just on it being a quaffable, easy drinking wine for canapes. We're trying to create something that does have versatility with not just snacks, but a proper meal. And I think that sparkling wine is kind of forever perhaps battling against the idea that it can only be paired with like something that comes on one of those little serving plates. So yeah, I think the fact that you can open it up and diversify what goes well with it makes its popularity grow with that. So yeah, it's great to be able to have it with something like this, kind of showcase some unique pairing.
Or just because, have it just because.
That's any good reason to have any wine, I would say.
And so you mentioned off the top that you have three different sparkling wines in your portfolio. You have
Mhm.
Pixie, you have Indigo, and then the
Yeah, so
Ceremony.
we've expanded actually. So we started with just doing Pixie and Indigo, mainly because they were the easier method to make, Charmat method, which just involves a little bit less time and frankly less risk, because there is for those not in the know, traditional method sparkling, which you would see with a champagne sort of wine, and wines that we make. So we make three of those. We make our Ceremony, which is a Blanc de Blanc. We make a Stardust, which is a Blanc de Noir. We make a Rosebud, which is a rosé in the traditional method. So yeah, we have a pretty diverse sparkling portfolio, but with this, the difference between that and traditional method is our traditional method wines take a lot more time to put together. They're typically going to go through a secondary fermentation that can take anywhere from 2 years to 7 years. So it's a big time commitment is the big part of it. So we wanted to start obviously with things that were a bit of a turnover, or something that turned over a little faster for us, so that we weren't, risking it all for something long term. And then those sort of followed a little after. So we were releasing our traditional methods starting in 2013 and 14. So they were little bit further down the line. But with Indigo, it sort of followed right on the heels of Pixie, which was a very popular sparkling wine that we introduced to the LCBO. Indigo has been introduced in some stores as a direct delivery product. We're working on getting it to as many as we can, but it is also a nice vineyard exclusive for us. But we always are trying to look into keeping our sparkling wine program interesting as well. So we've done one-offs of pet nats, even where we're doing it in the natural method sparkling, but it's a style that really does well out in Prince Edward County where we're located, especially as we're close to the water. We can create some really nice, cool climate varietals that really do nicely for that style. And I think you're seeing more of it coming from the Prince Edward County region in general, because of that time commitment piece. Where, if you're a small estate starting out, you're probably going to want to prioritize getting some wine for this year and not something, 7 down and have the fruit to do it. So it's kind of a privilege to be able to make sparkling wine in a sense.
Fantastic. And I know your family has met royalty, His
They have.
Highness, and
They have.
Camilla, and certainly are right there to showcase Canadian wines to the world whenever you have the opportunity. But I have to have a question. I have a question that I want to ask you personally, because
Yeah, of
I
course.
know you
Mm.
on grew up at the farm and at the grape growing farm, and do you have a special spot that you used to like to play hide and seek when you were a kid?
Oh my God. That's a fantastic question. It's so Debbie is right. She has known me for probably my entire adult life, I would say. Which, sorry, Debbie, I didn't mean for that to,
That
to
doesn't make me
get
feel
in any
old
way.
at all, Dylan.
No,
But
I know.
anyways.
But yeah, I originally when we bought the property, I was 11. So this was from right from the beginning. So there was quite a bit of time that I had, a basic time. And frankly, the place that we used to play hide and seek in is a place that no longer exists. We had a old barn where our tasting room stood, and it was the Bat Barn, and there's not the should have been playing hide and go seek in there in the first place. So I think that that was probably my favorite spot. But yeah, when we first bought the property, it was the county in the truest, most rustic sense. It was not a glamorous location. We had quite a lot of cleanup to do to start. It was primarily, a place with a lot of derelict buildings that we had to first put together a plan to tear down. And I can remember spending a lot of my time at that point just stirring the property, looking at places that were scrapping and just trying to find adventures in them. So yeah, it's absolutely been a place that I've spent a lot of time in, including hide and seek adventures. And it's a large property as well. If you've ever been to Rose Hall Run, you'll approach kind of the entrance, and the vines are sort of what kind of greet you as you approach. But there is a big forested area in the back, and that is in fact our estate goes right back to the water. So it's probably hard for me to even estimate if I've explored the entire acreage that we've owned. We've have about 153 acres altogether. Not all of it is potable for wine, so we kind of have a lot of pride in stewarding just the piece of forested land that's on the back part of the property. So, I mean, you want to talk hide and seek? It's peak conditions. Though not this week. Stay inside.
No, not this week. It would be too much work clamoring through all that snow. Just
Absolutely.
a quick show of hands, because Rose Hall Run has grown from a hidden secret to a very well-known winery. Um, I am sure there's lots of people who are Prince Edward County enthusiasts. Raise your fondue fork if you've been to Rose Hall Run. If you've visited Rose Hall Run,
See some.
there's a couple of
Yep.
people shown
Mhm.
who are already converted fans.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
one of the beautiful things I love is going to Rose Hall Run. There's always something new. Whether it's a new wine, or you've expanded your tasting room, or new something. And also, we just saw one of your colleagues. We saw JJ this afternoon, and she's always full of news about cool stuff that's going on at Rose Hall, and great accolades that Rose Hall is getting. So keep up the good work, my friend. You
Thank
and
you
your
as
family,
always.
and the whole Rose Hall team is such wonderful people and great advocates of and ambassadors of the Canadian wine industry.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you. Yeah, of course. And thank you everyone for making the time to join us tonight, and for all the kind words about the wine. It's always appreciated. And I would send all these kind words to my dad, but he's probably drinking mezcal somewhere in Mexico and does not need any further encouragement to have a good time. So
Don't
I'll
worry.
take
So before you go, what are some of your favorite things to pair with indigo?
So indigo specifically, if we're not talking fondue, I'm not going to do the corny thing and just say fondue, because
You can. That's
You
okay.
can, but fondue. Well, then fondue is absolutely the most perfect recommendation. No, I really love our sparkling. In addition to any cheese, truly. I actually, it's funny you mentioned manchego was your cheese bingo. I'm like, that'll go pretty good with some indigo right there. Actually, my dinner this evening after I jump off the call with my indigo is one of my favorite pairings, non fondue related, falafel. Actually, I like anything that's got a little bit of uh, sort of a sort of deep fried sort of quality, but a classy deep fried, let's say, or a tempura is really nice with the indigo. Anything that a light meal that also has a little bit of that sort of breaded quality, I feel kind of is a nice pairing. That sort of aromatics do quite nicely with that sort of light pairing. And then if you have a cheese that has a little bit more funk on it, I think this wine makes a really nice pairing because of that little bit more bolder nose you get from a grape like Muscat and Chardonnay Muscat.
I can imagine blue cheese with this sparkling wine right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
we need a cheese to be chosen.
And when you fondue, what are some of your favorite fondue dippers, Dylan?
Well, I'm a little frustrated because I thought I was going to get in with the unique ravioli in the fondue because I felt like that was not something, but apparently this is out. The secret's out, so I'm
You're
gonna.
hardcore here.
Yeah, so we got that. I'm a sucker for button mushrooms, little button mushrooms and garlic, and then Granny Smith apples. Just if you want to do something a little bit more simple and classy, you don't want to turn the stove on. I get it.
All right. It's been a pleasure. Thank
As
you so
always.
much for joining us, Dylan. Enjoy your falafel and indigo.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the fondue. And stay warm, please.
Yes.
Cheers, everyone.
Awesome. Indigo is one of our top-selling sparkling wines, and I always have it on hand because you never know when the occasion is that you just need to have it in your fridge. Often there's one of these beautiful bottles in my fridge, as I said, easy drinking, and it's my raison d'etre to actually tell people that sparkling wine isn't only a special occasion wine, it's an everyday wine. So I want to share that idea of popping open a cork is great for any day of the week, and that is a great testament to what we've just got here. And what I'm finding is a lot of Canadian wineries are including or adding to their portfolio of sparkling wine. So whether it's with Chardonnay or Riesling or a really interesting blend like what Dylan had just mentioned, um, give it a try because there are a lot of really good white, rosé, and red sparkling wines. So that's super cool. Becca, time to play some more bingo.
You got it. Okay. The next, oops, sorry. Next one is mozzarella. So if you have mozzarella, mark that down.
All right, mozzarella. Mamma mia, mozzarella.
Feta.
Feta. Perfect. Okay. Well, the segue from feta to our next winemaker is Scott from Lakeview Wine Company. And the segue is that feta to me is always one of those cheeses that are lovely to eat in the summertime. And this is a really refreshing white wine that you might think of as having it for the summer or having it year round on a cold day like today. I wanted to bring on Scott. Here he is, Scott McGregor from Lakeview Wine, and tell us more about this really interesting grape variety, Kerner, because it's not something that's very common, especially in Canada. Scott, great to have you here.
Great, thanks. It's wonderful to be back on. Loving that everybody's getting into the fondues on this cold winter night. It is the perfect. I concur. The perfect thing to have on a cold night like tonight. Kerner, yes, it is a very interesting variety. It's a very unique variety. It's been kind of a signature wine for Lakeview Cellars for many years, decades really, back into the early 90s at Lakeview Cellars. So this particular variety is a cross. It's a German variety. It's a cross of Riesling and Trollinger. So one of the interesting facts of that is that Trollinger is a red varietal. And this was a cross that was made back in 1929 in Germany. And they created a Vitis vinifera grape called Kerner. And it has a lot of Riesling characteristics to it, but it has a slight difference. The acidity tends to be just a little softer, and it tends to have a little bit more mouthfeel. Clearly, it's a white varietal, so it didn't get the red from its parentage, but Kerner is actually quite widely planted in Germany. But here in the Niagara Peninsula, I only know of 2 different vineyards that have Kerner planted. And one of them is a vineyard that we have been bringing in for, like I said, since the early 90s. And it was planted by a man by the name of Stu Morgan. And Stu Morgan was one of the founders of Lakeview Cellars with 2 other gentlemen named Eddie Grinskis and Larry Hipple. And Stu planted Kerner, and he became a passionate advocate of Kerner, and it was a favorite wine of his. And so it has become a wine over many years because we are probably one of the only wineries that makes a varietal Kerner here in the Niagara Peninsula. And it became to the point where it was actually one of the wines out of all the wines that we make that we have people will come in and put their name on the list to get a case. So if we do sell out, and sometimes we do on certain years, people will come in and they actually start to pre-sell and put their name on the list to make sure that they don't miss out on the next vintage.
And how would you describe this really special wine?
It definitely has a lot of Riesling characteristics, as I said. The acidity level usually falls somewhere in the kind of high 6s, between 6.5 and 6.8. Riesling often has an acidity level of 7 to 7.5, so it's a little more crisp. But it certainly goes through the same sort of evolution as it ages as Riesling does. So when it starts out, a young Kerner can have a little more citrus aromatics to it. As the wine ages, it slowly starts to take on a little more peach, apricot, those types of aromatics. And it really makes for a very fresh, very, as you said, perfect in the summer. I think it will really pair well with a lot of the lighter cheeses in the fondues tonight, which I'm assuming there's a lot of cheese in those fondues tonight. This will pair quite nicely with it, but it really does have a lot of fresh aromatics in the nose. And I'm having actually the 22 right now. This is really sort of kind of taking on a little bit of that apricot and nectarine and peach aromatics to it.
Now, you hinted a young Kerner. Does that mean that Kerner, this bottle, would be okay to age?
Absolutely, they definitely go through an evolution. It has a good acidity level. It's a wine that will hold and age, and it will change and go through different characteristics as it takes on a little bit of age. Not all white wines age well, but Kerner is definitely one that does.
And if I were to come over to your house for dinner tonight, then and you serve the Kerner, what food would you pair with it?
Well, I think, as I said earlier, I think this will match quite well with a lot of the cheeses. This wine, I think, really goes well with a lot of Asian dishes, and certainly goes nicely with mild seafood, and nothing that's too heavy of sauces, but certainly is a seafood friendly. A lot of the similar dishes that you would pair Riesling with, Kerner will go nicely also with.
Now tell us a little bit more about Lakeview, because in my opinion, it's one of those hidden gems in Niagara, even though it is a very large operation.
It is, yeah. We're a very large operation. We've got multiple different labels within the company. Lakeview Cellars is kind of our Lakeview Wine Co. is our flagship, but we also make very popular brands that are available in the LCBO, East L Estates, 20 B's wines, and fresh wines. we definitely we've built an operation that has large streams of different abilities to make wine within the facility. So we will make large commercial batches for the LCBO that can be hundreds of thousands of liters, but we can also make wines that go right down to 4 and 6 barrel lots to very high quality and slow aged.
Well, and for all of our wine club subscribers that we have here at this fondue party last month, we actually no, it was this month, January. January we featured Lakeview, and we sent out to all of our subscribers this Kerner, as well as the bourbon barrel aged Cabernet Franc and your Syrah, and those are definitely on the smaller batch red wines in your portfolio.
Absolutely, yeah. So another interesting fact, actually, from the same property that this Kerner comes from, which was the Stu Morgan property, we also bring in Syrah. So that was another one of Stu's favorites. And that's also planted, and that is right in the Lincoln Lakeshore, right on Lake Ontario. So this is lakefront right on Lake Ontario. So one of the warmer spots for winter damage or anything like that in the Niagara Peninsula.
We have Kelly and Peter saying that their favorite wine from Lakeview is or has been the 2015 Syrah. Were you the winemaker at that time?
I was, yeah. Actually,
There you go.
I know this is going to be shocking to all the viewers here, but I've been with the company for 22 years, and I know what you're saying. I don't look old enough to have been around for 22 years on there, but I actually have. I've been in the industry for 29 years, and I've been with this company for 22 years.
And you have made some cider as well.
Yes, yeah. A few years back, we purchased the Shiny Apple Cider facility in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And so we're having a lot of fun making some very interesting ciders, flavored ciders, and just original cider. So it's very similar to winemaking, but it is an interesting side project to be able to kind of work in that medium also.
And for those who ordered our cheese fondue plus the Ontario craft cider parcel, some of you may have received the shiny apple, I think it was the maple taste, or maple flavor rather. Tell us a little bit more about cider making. Is it one of those cool projects that is just completely different from winemaking, or is it very similar to winemaking?
There's some similarities for sure. It is a very different model, and it's funny because I will meet and talk with some other cider makers, and the one thing you do find with cider is sometimes there's cider made by brewmasters, and there's also cider made by winemakers. And I think we approach cider in very different ways. And so I think we kind of are, when a winemaker is making cider, we're looking into the characteristics of that cider a little differently than brewery ciders. And it doesn't mean that one or the other is better. It's just that there is a definite difference in how we kind of approach the fermentation and how those ciders develop, and what kind of characteristics we're trying to look at, maybe different types of yeasts or different ways that the cider is being made.
So that's really interesting. Thank you for sharing that, because one of the moments, the aha moments that we had was at Savvy Company was there were so many cross-pollinations of winemakers making ciders, as you said, brewmasters making ciders, and then this might sound a little strange, but winemakers making coffee, their own roasted coffee. And that was how we expanded into showcasing Canadian companies that are small batch and roasting coffee, because we found a number of winemakers had a side hustle of roasting their own coffee and making it for family and friends, which then started a whole new part-time job for them, as if they didn't already have enough on their plate.
Impressive to find the time. But it does make sense. Another beverage that you've got incredible nuances and aromatics, and you're trying to kind of shape a product to release a specific aromatic or complexity. That I do think that there's it makes some sense. I think from all the winemakers that I know and spend time with, really quality food, quality wines, and quality products are a mainstay and an interest in the aromatic compounds and the expression that those products can show.
Well, and I know you're a very busy man, and I appreciate you joining us on this late Friday night. Had one question is, can you tell us what's going on in the vineyard on a bitter cold January day as we've been having? Because I know, or I've heard that Niagara has certainly received some of the snowstorm that we have endured here in Ottawa. Um, you're not putting your feet up and eating bonbons, I'm sure of it. You've got a lot going on in the cellar. How are things going in the cellar and also in the vineyards?
Well, I'll start with the vineyards. For sure, the vineyards is we've had a cold winter, and I know that yourself and a lot of your viewers are in Ottawa, so you might kind of chuckle a little bit at what we call cold. But here we're growing a lot of Vitis vinifera varieties. They start to get sensitive once you start to hit around that -19 to -20 degrees. And so we've danced around that. And at that point in time, on most varieties, we're okay. But once we start to tip over that -20 to -21, then we can start to see significant bud damage. So 50% we could lose on certain varieties of buds in a night that it drops down to -21. So if anybody's traveled down through the Niagara Peninsula, they'll notice lots of windmills in vineyards. And those units are there to be able to kind of bring some warm air from the inversion layer that's up above and maybe potentially change the temperature in the vineyard by a degree or two. And that can be enough to change the difference between, 40% damage to buds to reduce that down to 10% or none at all. So we've had some close calls. I think at this point in time, I think we're okay. Time will tell. We did have one cold night last weekend. We had a cold night last night. We were unable to start up the machines at the time that it dipped down, but it was only right on the edge. So a vineyard that sustains maybe 10% bud damage will still yield approximately the same amount of fruit. That's relatively normal. If we get beyond that, then it starts to reduce the volume of yield and the volume of fruit that's going to come out of that vineyard. And if it gets too cold, then that can cause actual vine damage and vine death, which then you need to replant and start over. And if people don't fully understand that, to replant a vineyard, you're looking at about 4 years until you're actually receiving a full crop load from that. So it's very, very expensive, and it's also a large time lag and a large time frame to be able to get that vineyard back up and producing at full. So I've been reading my Magic 8 Ball, and I've been watching the weather pretty closely. And next week we seem to be getting back to single digits, negative, but negative single digits. And I think at this point in time, I think we're okay. And a lot of the consensus from what I've heard is okay. One of the interesting facts is Lake Ontario. Lake Ontario at this time of the year operates like a hot water bottle because it is not frozen over. That little bit of temperature and the way the winds come in here into the Niagara Peninsula, at least below the escarpment, so from the escarpment to the lake, it can really significantly change. I personally live very close to the escarpment. Actually, the escarpment is across the street from me. And when I travel from here to work, I can watch the temperature change over 6 degrees just driving from work. And that's just the proximity to the lake. So by the time I get to Lakeview, which is right on Niagara Stone Road, so the main highway heading into Niagara on the lake, when I get to that point, it can change that much in temperature just moving that much closer to the lake. So the lake is really our moderating factor that's helping us out. So at this point in time, the fingers are crossed. Winemakers don't sleep too well at this time of the year when the temperature is at this level. We'll all be breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief by the time we get into next week and we get more at more reasonable temperatures here in the Niagara Peninsula.
God, we could talk for hours, I think. So thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful and chilly Friday. and you seem very calm. So if tonight's not a night to be worried about what's going on outside, but
I
certainly
think we're okay tonight.
good. Thank you again for joining us for our cheese fondue party, and we'll be giving you a call again soon for next year's.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me. And I welcome everybody to come down to Lakeview Wine Co. If you're passing through the Niagara Lake area, please stop in. We've got a wonderful tasting room that you can come in, be welcomed, and taste through a multitude of wines.
Let's raise our glass to Scott, shall we? Thank you.
Cheers. Have a great night, guys.
Have a great evening. Thank you, Scott. I got a comment from Aaron about being superstitious. I'm not going to read that one. I'm superstitious too, Aaron. The cold is running through all across Canada, and some of the things that Scott was talking about certainly is happening in BC and in Nova Scotia. This cold snap is, well, we'll see how the winemakers want to report it once springtime comes, as whether or not their vines have endured the cold. Talking about a man who would also have sleepless nights like Scott in these kind of conditions is Fred DeProfrio. Fred, are you there? He was in the lab at Bellaterra Winery, and Fred is an amazing winemaker who I've had the pleasure to meet. Meet his father first, who owned DeProfrio Winery. And Fred was actually, well, has many jobs. And he is a winemaker for himself with his own Fred wines. There he is. And he also makes
And there we
for
go.
Bellaterra. Hey there, Fred.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi,
How are
it's
you?
good to see you.
Great to see you too. Nice bottle.
Yes, it's pretty fine wine too, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So you put your own name on this bottle, Fred, and obviously proud of making this wine, and it's a really interesting blend. But before we get into the nuances of this wine, tell us what it's like to be a winemaker for a big winery and then also a virtual winery, because that's what you've got. You're wearing many hats, and those are two of many of them that you wear.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as you mentioned, you met my dad first, and we had a family winery named DeProfio Wines. And but that that's sold, that's gone. So I kind of got used to being able to do my own thing, and in small lots. And so when that passed, I was able to, through the generosity of the owner of Bellaterra Vineyards, continue my small lot winemaking using varieties and techniques that I learned and developed at DeProfio Wines in a corner here. I can show you. I can demonstrate what it's like. Would you be interested in that?
I'm game. Anybody else? I got thumbs up all around. Bring
Yeah.
it on, Fred.
Well, I'm still at work. Okay, maybe your tech can help me out. How do I turn the camera around here? Maybe I can't. I'll just walk backwards. Can everybody see? So this is
He makes better wine than he does wine tours. How's that? I can attest to that.
So this is my office slash lab, and it's much bigger than it would be at a very small winery. So I've got access to lots of equipment and analytical equipment, stuff like that. So I'll just go out into the. Here we go. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you.
Okay, so this is Bellaterra Vineyards. Can you, and it's, you know, a fairly large facility.
Holy
You know,
Toledo, look at all those barrels.
look at all those barrels, big tanks, right? But what we can do here, because we have all these barrels, is it allows us to do small lot winemaking at the same time. So we do small lots in our barrels and we do large lots in the big tanks, right? So here's my little section. And maybe you can see I've got, I even got some barrels with my logo on it. I don't know if you can make that out.
Yeah, we can certainly see that. So your virtual winery is a winery within a winery. So basically you sublet and reuse a lot of the
Exactly.
equipment.
So it's not really virtual. It's actually real. Real barrels, real wine.
True. Real winemaker.
Just done on a smaller scale within a larger winery.
Right.
And you know, another here we have some. I just bottled this. We can see that. I think Dylan was talking about traditional method sparkling wine.
Oh, are you doing that too?
Well,
Oh
this
my
is
gosh,
how it
really?
starts, right?
That's fantastic.
So I bottled this a week ago. Let me see if I can grab a bottle out of here. Oh, maybe not. I don't know if we can't really see it very well. There's a bottle. I can't reach it. Anyways, so we see you have a crown
Right.
cap on here, right? So the way this works is, as Dylan mentioned, it's a bottle. So the second ferment occurs in the bottle. We take a base wine. In this case, it's Gamay. And you know my
Yes.
Crème Well, this is the next batch.
Oh, beautiful sparkling rosé.
Exactly.
Delicious. Mm.
So we take the base wine, add some sugar and more yeast, put it in a bottle, put a crown cap on, and a bottle that can take the pressure. And it will. It's now been a week. It'll go through that fermentation for probably another 3-4 weeks. And then it'll spend the next between 1 and 5 years in the
Wow.
bottle on the lees. Right. And the nice thing about doing it this way is I can riddle as many bottles as I want when I want to riddle them. And riddling is the process by which you get the yeast out of the bottle. That's right. You kind of shake and turn, shake and turn. So I can start riddling in as little as a few months and have a very fresh wine, and leave the rest and again in a year, and then be able to call it traditional method. And it gets a more leesy characteristics. And then I can leave the rest after that and riddle again in 3 years, and the wine will be different. So this is a really great way to do small lot unique winemaking, which is what Fred Wines is all about.
So how many bottles would be in one of those cages, Fred?
In one cage is 500 bottles.
500 bottles.
Yeah, so here we've got 1 cage, 2 cages, 3 cages. That's 1,500 bottles.
And you can, same recipe, but you can age them and riddle them differently
At different
to create
times.
different flavors.
And exactly.
Neat. And the lees that you were mentioning, that's wine speak for yeast, right? So
That's right.
the yeast compounds inside the bottle acting
Yeah,
as
I
flavors.
tried to pull a bottle out, but there's
Oh, don't break anything, please.
yeah,
The
exactly.
sparkling
The
wine,
gap
don't
isn't
hurt it.
quite big enough there, so yeah, I don't want to break it, especially since it's a little bit pressurized by now.
Ah, yes. So there you have it. We weren't even talking about this before we hosted this event, so this was totally on the fly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fred, for the wine tour.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yay! So we'll be anxiously awaiting all the different sparkling wines that you make out of those 1,500 bottles. Uh,
Uh-huh.
let's let's reel back and talk about this really cool red wine because it has some really interesting grapes that you blended together to make this bright side.
Indeed, this is a 2021 vintage, and it consists of about 70% Gamay Noir, which is a favorite grape of mine. Obviously, I use it for the Primrose, which you just saw. Very flexible grape, makes great sparkling wine, makes delicious red wine, makes awesome rosé, and I use it for all three of those. And in this year, I also had the opportunity to source some Blaufränkisch.
Okay, you're gonna have to help us pronounce that again because that's a new great word for a lot of people.
Right. Okay. So Blaufränkisch. So it means, as far as I know, in German, blue Frankish, which would be the Franks or the French. So a blue French grape. It's actually an Austrian grape, planted widely in Austria, Central Europe, and parts of Eastern Europe as well. And there's, as far as I know, one vineyard in Niagara. So in 21, I had the opportunity to buy some from this vineyard. I also bought some Cabernet Franc, which was what I was looking for that year. I wasn't looking for the Blaufränkisch, but when I was there, they said, "Oh, well, yeah, you can have some Cab Franc, but hey, how about this? Have you thought about Blaufränkisch?" And I hadn't, but I was willing to try, and I was absolutely delighted with it. It's a beautiful, very fruity wine, and I vinified them separately and didn't blend them for about a year afterwards. But I thought, wow, this would be a great blending component for the bright side. That year it was a little bit lower in tannin, higher in acidity, but very fruity. Um, so I thought it was a great fit for the bright side, and indeed it is. So here we are. There's also 5% Malbec as well in the blend.
So that's the most unusual blend is you've got Gamay Noir, which tends to be a bright cherry flavor and light wine, then
Mhm.
Blaufränkisch. I don't know enough about that, but I've been learning. And then Malbec, as we all know, is the big, bold black wine that the Argentinians and Chileans are famous for. So
Mhm.
what an interesting blend to create, and man, is it ever good. Anyone
Yeah.
else like this red wine that sent you? We got thumbs up all over the place. Fantastic work, Fred. Thank you.
Okay. Well, it's
Thank you,
my
and thank you for
pleasure.
the wine tour. So,
Mhm.
how about you? When I come over for dinner, and that will come soon, what would you serve with this bright side wine?
Well, the bright side is very versatile. Um, it's a bit lighter bodied, which I think lends to its versatility. The big cabs, you're pretty much wanting fatty, very high protein, steak and lamb and um, but the bright side, although you can have it with all of those, it's also great with cheese fondue. For example. And I love it in the summer because it's a great patio wine. A lot of the bigger reds, uh, in the heat of summer, it's, maybe not all that pleasant. But this one, I'd love to have it by my side when I'm barbecuing, whether it be shrimp on the barbecue or chicken, sausage, hamburgers. It's great. It'll go with any of these things. Um, and it, if I chill it a little bit in the summer heat, it's actually refreshing because it is lower in tannin, so it's not, doesn't give you that drying feeling quite as much, and it has a nice bright acidity as well. So a little bit chilled, it's actually refreshing.
That's really cool that you mentioned that because I know Shirley, who is part of the Savvy team, she really has been on the kick of chilling red wines, summer or winter, because it does give you a different flavor and does give you different textures if you chill it. But it's also fun to
Absolutely.
learn and taste how the wine evolves as it warms up to room temperature.
Hmm.
So that's a cool one to chill just a wee bit, just a couple like 10, 15 minutes in the fridge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Not cold, but just a little bit chilled. Yeah.
So I mentioned to Scott earlier about coffee,
Hmm.
and you've got a side hustle going on, coffee.
Well,
As if you don't have enough hours in your day already that you spend devoted to making wine. Tell me what that's all about. Share with
well,
us.
about 4 years ago, my wife Margarita, who you know, who
Yes.
many of you have undoubtedly met at Savvy events, we purchased a small farm in the Andes Mountains in Colombia, and we've been spending 3-4 weeks a year down there. Just sort of at this time of year. I'll be leaving next week. um, I should have left this week because it's friggin' cold. but, but anyways, still February is miserable enough still that it'll be enjoyable to escape. uh, um, we are hoping to plant coffee. It is in a perfect zone for coffee cultivation. Um, that being at about 1,500 meters and in volcanic soils and rainforest conditions. Um, the neighbor has coffee. I mean, there's coffee grown all over that the region where the farm is, and it does very well and makes very aromatic coffee, very fruity coffee. Um, and so, yeah, eventually we hope to bring some coffee back and roast it here and have that for sale and have it for sale through Savvy. I know Debbie can't wait.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, I wanted to bring it up because with everybody who is in our party, uh, you think, oh, winemakers, they have this fantastic life of harvest and they make this amazing wine and um, then they travel the world talking about Canadian wines, and you do all that plus.
Mm.
And your work does not stop when it's cold outside. Most winemakers, when we talk to them in January, are saying, "Oh my gosh, it's just as busy now as it was in December in selling wine." Now they're preparing for bottling and all these other things that are going on. And every winemaker I meet, they certainly grass does not grow underneath your feet. You've got more than 24 hours in a day, it seems, and you've got such dynamic lives, and it's really interesting to chat with you, especially tonight, and to introduce you to all of these wonderful people who have been enjoying your beautiful red wine, but also have spent some time listening to your stories, and you've got lots of them, and Scott
Mm.
does, and Dylan as well, and Catherine. So that's what tonight is all about, is to getting a chance to spend some time with you here at this party so that when you do see Margarita and Fred at our next Savvy event, they're always the first one to commit to participating. Then you know a little bit more about them when you do meet them and they introduce you to their whole breadth of fantastic wines because their heart and soul does go into every bottle. So thank you, Fred.
Well, thank you for having me.
And thanks for the wine tour. I didn't know that we were going to get one of those. That was pretty cool.
Just a little spontaneity, spice of life.
Excellent. Okay, go grab yourself a beer at Margarita's Wine Bar in Niagara, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you. See you later.
Now, that's not a wrap up of the party because I forgot. Becca needs to call some bingo. So we're going to do not 2, but 4. Bring out your bingo cards. I'm feeling a winner coming on. Becca, fire away.
Okay. Halloumi.
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 Right on. Grill me some halloumi. I'll be over.
Cream cheese.
Cream cheese. Any winners out there yet?
No, not yet. You want me to keep going, Debbie?
Keep on going.
Okay. Brie.
We all know Brie. Now I can see Michelle got her stamper there, right? Winners just yet. Let's keep going, Becca.
Blue cheese.
Blue cheese. We talked about blue cheese and indigo earlier on. Blair Mary, how are you doing on your bingo card? Nothing yet? Oh, Kelly and Peter's giving it some down. Sorry about that.
Cheddar.
Who doesn't love Canadian cheddar? Okay, how about one more? I can feel it. I can feel a winner coming.
Mascarpone.
Mascarpone cheese. All right.
Monterey Jack.
Oh, Aaron. Whoa, there's the dance. There's the cheesy bingo dance. Okay. I think we have a winner. Dun, 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 dun. Right on. Oh, it's a horizontal winner. Fantastic. Becca, I'll let you check all that out. We'll get a photo, and Aaron, if you could send me a photo of the completed bingo card, we'll check all that out. And away we go. Congratulations, you have won a taste of our Savvy Cool Curds Cheese Club. And here's just a couple of pieces that Catherine had mentioned. Alfred, but this is not any old Alfred. This is their premium aged Alfred, which is absolutely delicious. It's Alfred Fermier Grand Cru, they call it, and then also Chemin Hatley Grand Cru. These are 2 of the 3 cheeses that are in the fondue blend, and these are the extra aged version. And then we also have a raclette, which is, well, just heaven in a block of cheese. So that's just a taste of what our Savvy Cheese Club subscribers got, as well as a cheese fondue. So life is really good if you are a Cheese Club subscriber. Well, with that, that wraps up our cheesy night, our fondue party. Did everybody have a good time? Thumbs up? No thumbs down. Thumbs up? Yes. Good, good, good. It was an absolute delight for me to be here with you this evening. And certainly, I'll thank you. Lots of emojis coming along here. Thank you for that. And Becca and Shirley and I loved putting all these parcels together and having you pick them up. Hey, Michelle and Perry, thank you. Cheers on that. Appreciate all of coming our way. We're a small company with big hearts and certainly enjoy showcasing things that are Canadian. And tonight, hopefully you've enjoyed learning more about the people who make the wine and the cheese that we've enjoyed, and also the ciders. Also in your parcel, you have some little truffles that you could have at any time. Don't wait for me. I had them ahead of the show. So I've had my chocolate fix already. And one of my top tips is red wine and chocolate. Can't go wrong. Oh, I love it. Especially something like the bright side would be really good. And if you've kept that bottle to have a little bit later, Fred has told me 5 to 7 years you can keep it in your wine cellar, but why wait? Kerner, we've heard from Scott that it does change in its flavors and aromatics if you age it a little bit, but why wait? It's delicious right now. And indigo, just pop another one in the fridge, my friends. For $20, you can't go wrong. Certainly, these wines, we have more of these wines and the cheese fondue on our Savvy store if you would like to stock up on any of your favorites. And certainly, with Valentine's Day coming up, Becca has curated some really interesting Valentine's Day presents. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. We can take care of that for you. One-of-a-kind gifts. And really, just it's been a pleasure to have a party with you and spend Friday evening with you. And we hope to meet you in person. If you're not already a Savvy fan, and I know there are a bunch already, familiar faces here this evening. We look forward to seeing you at another event once the snow melts, and certainly call on us at any time when you need anything that pertains to Canadian wines and cheeses and coffees and ciders that are not readily available. So with that, we'll wrap it up and keep on partying at your home and look forward to seeing you soon. It's been an absolute pleasure being your sommelier and your host and introducing you to some really fine friends. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a great weekend. Keep warm, everyone. Bye for now. Thank you. Thank you very much for your kind comments. Great seeing you. Bye, Ann. Bye, Dylan. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Scott. Bye, Catherine. Bye, Joe. Bye. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Judith, for your kind words. It was a treat. That's really nice. Thank you very much. Bye, Lisa and Ben. Good to see you again. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye for now.